What's up guys, it's Nick2. So as I'm sure many of you are aware, the raid releases next week. Right now I'm recording this is Monday, so the raid releases tomorrow and a whole bunch of other stuff comes out at the same time. In this video, I plan to show you guys everything that is going to come out, all the ways that you could take advantage of that, what it is that you guys want to be doing immediately right when it comes out to fully take advantage of all of the new systems, and how you can get geared best going into the raid and all the different ways that you can get gear. There's a ton of stuff releasing, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be very interested in just getting into the raid, getting into Mythic Plus, getting into high rated PvP. So I'll do my best to keep this video concise and just show you guys everything that you should care about and all the things that you want to try to get done. And if this video helps, please make sure to drop a like and subscribe for videos similar to this one. So let's talk about everything that is going to be coming out. First of all, most notably, the raid. The raid is going to be released on both normal mode and on heroic mode. In normal mode, you can get 200 item level gear, and the last two bosses are going to give you 207 item level, whereas in heroic, the item level is going to be 213, and then the item level from the last two bosses is going to be 220. You're not going to be able to do Mythic this week. I imagine most of you watching this aren't really interested in Mythic raiding. Mythic is going to come out the subsequent week. Another thing that's coming out is Mythic Plus. If you don't already know what Mythic Plus is, it's pretty much just more difficult dungeons. You can get gear from them. They're on a timer basis. They have special affixes, etc., etc. That's going to be coming out, as well as rated PvP. The season is going to start, so you can now start earning Conquest, and you can start purchasing Conquest gear. I'm going to be going over all the different gear, all the different item level that things give you, all the different ways to reap the best benefits, etc. Another thing that's going to come out is world bosses. These are on a week-by-week rotation, so which world boss, it could be Valinor the first week, and then Mortanis the second week, etc., etc. I'm not sure which one is up. You could easily just look up the location of what the world boss is this week, and you could figure it out. These world bosses are going to be dropping 207 item level gear and 200 item level conduits. Which one it is each week is random, and you can only kill them once per week to get gear. So if I really wanted this legendary, I'd be pretty much SOL, because if I don't immediately get it, or if it's not a guaranteed drop rate, which I don't think we know if it's guaranteed drop rate or not to get the legendary, but if I didn't get it the first try, I'd potentially have to wait another 4 weeks to end up getting it, and that would be pretty unlucky. Some people have their BIS conduits from here as well. I believe my Monk's BIS conduit is one of the Covenant specific ones, so that's a little bit unlucky. But these coming out is really cool because they give 207 item level gear, and they're pretty free. It's very easy to just join a pre-made group, go kill the boss, and easy clap. Another thing is that Renown 9 is going to be released. I mean, not released, but every week you can get 3 Renown, right? And right now we're at Renown 6, so next week we're going to be able to get to Renown 9. The reason that this is notable is because for certain soul binds, you're going to be able to finally unlock the second conduit slot. So for Nagia, I'll be able to get a finesse conduit slot, or for Theotar, I'll be able to get a potency conduit slot, which is really good for me. Depends on what your class is, what you care about, and stuff like that. But for me, this is pretty big, so I'm really looking forward to that. And the next thing that comes out is layer 6 of Torghast. So right now, you're able to do up to layer 3, and as a result of that, you can only get, I think it's like 810 soul ash per week or something along those lines, like 700 something. I don't know the exact number. But you can only do up to layer 3. Next week you can do up to layer 6, which means you can do layer 3, 4, 5, and 6, etc. And you're able to get up to 1200 soul ash next week. So this means, let me pull up a little wow head thing real quick. So this means that if you are trying to craft a rank 2 legendary, you can do that next week, but you can't craft a rank 3 because it'll be the max amount of soul ash that you could currently have right now, I think is 1500. So if you wanted to get, if you did all of the layers next week and you got all 1200 soul ash, you'd be at 2700 soul ash. So not quite enough to craft rank 3, but you'll be able to craft rank 2, which is pretty cool. And you'll also be able to do just higher difficulty levels of Torghast, which will be pretty fun, because higher the difficulty, the more epic anima powers you get. And honestly, when you're getting no epic anima powers, Torghast is not nearly as much fun. Like, a lot of the time I just get absolute garbage over and over and over again. And hopefully with layer 6 and stuff, it'll be much more enjoyable. It goes up to layer 8 next week when Mythic Raid comes out. Layer 7 and layer 8 will release, but the cap on soul ash will still be 1200. So now that you know everything that is coming out, let me close this. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Let me close this. There we go. Now that you know everything that is coming out, let's talk about the ideal order in which you want to do things. I'll type it down in the description box if you just want to see that, and I won't really give reasoning, so if you want the in-depth reasoning as to why you're doing things, just watch the video. But otherwise, I'll type that down in the description. So you could very easily just log in. I'm going to assume that most people are interested in doing the raid on Heroic, and that's just the way that I'm going to frame this video. And I'll talk about what suits you, what is your best interest if you just want to try to get into Heroic as fast as possible. So you could very easily do normal mode. You could log on and do normal mode. By the way, Raid Finder is not going to be out. The Wing 1 of layer of Raid Finder is going to come out Mythic Week. Anyway, you could very easily log on if you're already like 180, 185. My warrior got very unlucky, but both my hunter and monk are like 184, 185. You could easily log on, try to find a pre-made group, or go to with your guild to go to normal mode, get some easy gear, and you could probably smash it out. If you're not as good of a player, or if you're in a pre-made, doing the last 2 bosses might not be a possibility without much gear and this early on into the week. So honestly, my official recommendation would be just get the other stuff first. Get the other easy gear first, and then go into normal mode so that you just easy clap smash it. And once you have normal mode gear, then you can start doing Heroic. So what is it that you'd want to do before normal mode? First off, you want to get renown 9. So you would just log in and you'd get your dailies from this dude or whichever dude in your covenant. One of the did I say dailies? I meant weeklies. One of the weeklies is to get 1,000 anima, so unfortunately you will have to run around doing some anima quests, but quick recommendations, if you have the anima conductor, this gives you a little bit of decent anima, especially if you unlock the streaming threads option. But whatever, you have to get 1,000 anima, and you have to get the souls from the maw. The first thing that I would do is I would go into the maw and just get that weekly done, get the Wrath of the Jailer weekly for the Venari reputation done, get the maw dailies done, just so you don't have to think about it. Nobody wants to be in the maw. Get out of there. If you don't really care about the reputation, you can just ignore the dailies and you can start doing other stuff. That's not going to give you an immediate power grind or power gain for during normal mode or for heroic mode. So just do your weeklies and get renown 9. The reason that you care about renown 9 is the extra conduit slot is going to be very helpful. You might be able to unlock the 3rd guy. Let me see, actually. You can just, if you're interested in what you can get from extra renown, you can just go over here. As you can see, at renown 9, I'm gonna get an upgrade for Theatar and an upgrade for Nagia here. I won't be able to unlock Draven until I not unlock him for a long time. Okay, it doesn't matter. I don't really care anyways. Draven is a tank guy. So you'll be able to unlock another conduit slot. That's particularly good. On top of that, if you're into PvP, you need a certain renown rank to be able to upgrade certain PvP gear. We'll talk about PvP gear in a minute here, but that's another reason that it's pretty worth doing. But getting the renown early on for the conduit slot is pretty much what you're aiming for. The next thing that you would do is the world boss. You could do the world. You could swap these orders. It doesn't really matter. This is just what I'm gonna do because I really want to get my renown so that I can play the Theatar thing. But if you wanted to first try to get a chance at loot, just go do the world boss. That'll take you literally 10 minutes in a pre-made group. Just go find the boss, kill it, easy clap, get some gear. The next thing that you want to do is focus on gear. So, like I said, you could easily just jump into normal mode, or you can get a little bit of gear from either Mythic Plus or from PvP prior to doing that. If you are trying to do Mythic Plus and you want a Keystone, you're going to have to do 1 Mythic 0. And if you don't already have some Mythic gear, I imagine people will still be doing Mythic 0s, and you could try to get some 184 gear pretty easily. But besides that, I would just do Mythic Plus for PvP. In terms of Mythic Plus, let's take a look at the chart and how the reward structure is. So currently, for the first week of Shadowlands Season 1, this is what's going to be called, but the 3rd week of Shadowlands, the item level from the end of dungeon chest is capped at 203. So any item level that would otherwise be higher, so like this 207, it's just going to be immediately reduced to 203. So sorry that my camera is a little dark here. That make me look uglier? All right. So pretty much what you want to be doing is you want to try to go up to +10 so that you can get a whole bunch of 203 item level gear. Most people might not be able to do this. This might be a little bit on the more difficult end. So if you're just interested in doing normal mode, doing like 3, 4s, and 5s are not going to be too difficult, and you can get pretty decent gear from it. If you're in full 190, full 194 gear, normal mode is going to be an absolute piece of cake. So if you really want to do normal mode, I would just recommend immediately just hopping into Mythic Plus or doing some rated PvP, and we'll talk about the rated PvP gear in a second here. By the way, these links will be in the description. And I would just get some gear and then go and do normal mode, and then you could decide if you want to do heroic immediately afterwards or not. In terms of weekly rewards and weekly stuff that you're interested in, let's talk about PvP gear, and then we'll talk about the Great Vault, because the Great Vault is all-encompassing raid, PvP, and Mythic Plus, the main cornerstones of the end game. So let's talk about PvP rewards, and then we'll talk about this. So if you already have some honor, you can now upgrade any honor gear to rank 4 to 5. This requires around 7. 4 to 5 is going to get you up to an item level of 184. So if there's any honor gear, like personally I'm using this trinket because I didn't get any trinket, and this is actually okay for me. So I have 1,900 honor. So the second that the update comes out, I can pop over to the honor guy in Oribos, and I could immediately upgrade this all the way to 184 item level. But I can only do that once I get to renown 7. So I'm probably going to get to renown 7, upgrade my trinket, go do the world boss, and then I'm going to start doing Mythic Plus and PvP with my boys. So, and that's also going to cost a little bit to upgrade stuff. This is going to show you how much it's going to cost for all the different items and stuff. But what's particularly interesting is that Conquest gear is going to come out, and getting Conquest capped is not that hard if you're pretty decent at PvP. Basically, the way that it works is that you buy an unranked piece from the vendor, and then you're going to buy this with Conquest. The Conquest amounts, I think, where are the Conquest amounts? Am I blind? No, I'm stupid. The Conquest amounts are right here, so if you're interested in getting that stuff, you could just farm out some Conquest. And then the way that it works is that depending upon your current rating in PvP or in RBGs, you can then upgrade that gear with honor. So let's say that I grind it up to 1,600 rating, right? I can now upgrade my gear to 213 item level. So I could buy a few pieces. Maybe I buy a two-handed weapon. Maybe I buy that same trinket. I get it at 200 item level easy, and then I upgrade it all the way to 213. If you don't really like PvP, you don't have to do this. However, this is going to be a little bit more efficient than Mythic Plus, depending upon how good you are at PvP, because you could very easily get like 2 or 3 pieces up to 213 in like a few hours if you win most of your arenas. And assuming that you have enough honor already, because honor costs are still something that can factor in. But what's particularly good about PvP gear is that you can just target what you want. So in the example that I need a new trinket, I could very easily just go do a rated PvP, if I were actually good at rated PvP, and I could very easily just get my trinket at like 213 item level, and then this would slam in the raid. Especially because the highest item level that I could possibly get from Mythic Plus is going to be capped at 207. This is assuming that you can get enough conquests. I don't know the conquest cap per week. I'm not sure if that's mentioned. I think it's 5,000. And if it is 5,000, then you can get a lot of gear. And at 200 item level, that's pretty decent. And that would give you a really easy time doing Mythic Plus as well. So now let's talk about the weekly vault. So since the update hasn't actually come out, the Great Vault is not actually in the game. So we're just going to look at the WoW head thing on it. I zoomed in so it looks a little weird, but hide sidebar. Yo, there we go. So the weekly vault is basically kind of how your end of the week cache used to work, like your Mythic Plus cache and your PvP cache. However, it's all put into one thing, and you can pretty much decide your progression path. So if I were to do all of the raid, all Mythic Plus, and all PvP, all these separate reward things, I'd be able to pick a piece of gear from any of these. You don't get to pick 3 pieces of gear. Basically, each thing means that you can pick between an extra thing. So if I do 3 bosses in Castle Nathria, I'll be able to pick between it'll give me 1 option of a piece of gear from the raid. But if I were to defeat 7, I now have 2 options. The loot that you get from each respective ones of these is only going to be pertaining to that form of content. So in the raid thing, it's only going to show me gear from the raid. Same thing for dungeons, only going to show me gear from dungeons. And the same thing for PvP. The item level that you get is dependent on what you did. So if I do all the way up to a plus 14, the weekly Great Vault in my dungeon section is going to be 226 item level. If I do it for PvP, does it say the amount here? I don't think the item level for the PvP rewards is actually posted yet, which is a little bit weird, but the item level for the Mythic Plus is pretty much what you care about, because that's going to be higher than anything else. That's going to be higher than raid, and it's probably going to be higher than PvP. I'd be very surprised if PvP is going to be all the way up to 226. However, I imagine a lot of you are not going to be able to get that far, but even if you did just a plus 8, a plus 9, a plus 10, even a plus 6, that's still going to be higher than anything that you can get from the raid or probably PvP. Again, numbers aren't there for PvP, or I just don't know about them. But honestly, you want to do dungeons for the Great Vault. Now, remember how I said that your rewards are determined by the type of content that you did? So, for example, Mythic Dungeons, if you do, the gear that you get is dependent on what dungeon you did. So if I only run one dungeon, I'm pretty sure it targets out of that group, because it's going to pick based on the highest key that you did. So if you care about min-maxing this, if there's a specific dungeon, here, I'll just give you a scenario. So let's say that I really, really want the decanter from, or no, the decanter I think actually didn't end up being that good. Let's say that I really, really want the File of Putrefaction, okay? But I already spammed a lot of dungeons, and I already unlocked the picking between 3 items. What I would do is I would make sure that my highest dungeon done that week was the dungeon that I wanted loot from. So if I really, really, really wanted the File of Putrefaction, I would only do up to a 14 otherwise, and then I would purposely do a 15 Plaguefall, so that I can guarantee that my decision from my weekly vault is a piece from Plaguefall. I believe this only works for 1 slot once you like complete the 10, but I'm not 100% sure. It is possible that that works for all of the gear. I don't know if there's really very good information on this, but all these Wowhead guides I will link in the description. So that is something that you can do. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Honestly, it's nothing too crazy, but it's going to be a lot of grinding. Yeah, hopefully this video helps. If it did, please make sure to drop a like, subscribe for videos similar to this one, and please leave me feedback. Really new to making WoW videos. Don't know if there's different things that I should be doing. So yeah, if you guys have any feedback, please make sure to leave it down below. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.